go. Keep going, Nick. Keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going, going. And when he gets to about there, shoot him.
Okay.
Okay? So that means
see, yeah.
let loose.
I kept coming back to the fact that what its nickname is the Battle of the Bastards. It's about two bastards fighting each other. It's basically a pub brawl.
It's really nice to get to sort of have the two bastards there together, facing off. They're so similar, but they're the antithesis of each other.
Ramsey's weapon all the way through is antagonizing people, coaxing them, drawing them into a trap, and John completely falls for it.
It's, you know, one guy on one side of the field, another guy on the other side of the field, who just get into a punch-up. And the punch-up is what happens in the middle of the field.
You want to fight?
We want them to come together, and we don't really know what we want them to do in the middle, but it's got to be good.
We're trying to capture the madness that this must have been. At any second could be the end of him. It's just a stray blade or a horse falling or a guy, you know, sticking him in the back. And he's barely surviving. We've been choreographing action that should look like it's kicked off in the street. It should look like absolute lunacy. So he's trained the whole thing. It's all going to be him. We're not going to use a double for that. He's got lots of stuff to do.
You've got things happening that are rather kind of epic that you can't shoot in any real meaningful way. You've got a giant pulling a guy out of the crowd and smashing his head with his bare hand. You've got horses crashing into each other.
You can't run two horses together because you kill the horses. It became about marrying real horse falls with the digital world so that we could have a real horse take a fall, and then we could digitally superimpose a second horse, which was a CGI horse that would seem to hit the real horse, causing it to fall in the first place.
You add a new level of danger in with horses. It's not just a fist fight.
We've got people getting slashed in the neck, you know, we've got stomach slashes, we've got axes in heads, we've got all sorts.
The best way to describe Bob is every day they would bring all the extras on board, and I would down to the set, and I would send them back and say, more blood, more mud. And that's all I ever said, is more blood, more mud. And with Kit, it was more blood, more mud. That's all I was going for, is how dirty can we make this war?
I would like to put on record right now that I have had more shit thrown at me than any other actor on this show. I had so much crap on my face. I just wanted to finish by then. I was like, I've loved this, but let's just end. And that was good, again, good for the scene.
Put your sword down and just do this, and it's like you're going to basically punch him in the face. So the next time that I see you, you've made absolute mincemeat of him.
We managed to find all these really interesting references and places where we could build the story and make spectacle and keep it about the characters, because in the end, no one cares about, you know, Wildling number 6 dying. What they care about is John going to survive or not, and is he going to whip Ramsey's ass?
Bit higher, Kit, bit higher.
We actually spent an entire day, 10 hours, with Kit on top of Ewan, beating him. And I just shot it from every single angle I possibly could.
I actually did punch Ewan in the face twice by accident.
Got a shield in the chin as well, which I really enjoyed. Jaw hurt a bit the next day. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things when you're doing this kind of thing, and he's got to give it that passion.
Where is he?
My hounds will never harm me.
His dogs were such a thing for him in this season and in seasons past, and such an extension of his own horrible urges and instincts and his tools of sadism and aggression in the world.
They're loyal beasts.
They were. Now they're starving.
We had to do it with dogs which are already difficult to work with, but these are dogs that are actually quite vicious, and so you can't be in the same room as them, and everyone has to clear out, and you have to use remote heads, and they're quite hardcore.
Stop! Stop!
It's such a strong moment for her because all her life she's been affected by these men who have just done such terrible things to her. This is the first moment that you actually hear her say, "This won't affect me and I'm stronger than this."
We've known for quite some time that the Mad King had planted caches of wildfire throughout the city. And when Jamie is telling Brienne the story of the last moments of the Mad King, he tells her that the wildfire was planted below, the major boulevards, and he actually says below the Sept of Baelor. And Dan and I started talking about this as potentially Cersei's plan, for how she finally overcomes her adversaries.
The principal idea behind it was start the sequence with a whole different bunch of people with a whole different bunch of expectations as they get ready for work one day. So the thing I really focused on is an enormous amount of details of them dressing in the morning, really abstract kind of perfume commercial style details of the lacing up the back of the gown, the putting on the crown, and they go to work and then work becomes something completely different. Trial has its own dramatic drive, which is, will he say that he's guilty or not? What will be the consequences?
I will abandon the Tyrell name and all that goes with it.
Blood knife. It's literally a blade with a hollowed out section. Whoever's operating it just squeezes the pump and out comes the blood.
With the carving, I had a face mold, so I went in, they molded my face, and then a prosthetic is put on.
And then I come back here, and it stops there. So I'll just prick it in and then do another.
There's something wrong.
You have nothing to fear, Your Grace. The trial will begin shortly.
Marjorie is savvy regarding Cersei. Marjorie's carved a career out of being occasionally one step ahead and occasionally one step behind. She puts 2 and 2 together and makes 4 ahead of everyone else. The trial can wait. We all need to leave.
He's overconfident. What he's doing is in the forefront of his mind. He doesn't really suspect that anyone's going to undermine him.
What we were trying to get to is the ultimate dramatic moment in that sequence when Marjorie turns to the High Sparrow, because the High Sparrow, for all of his conviction, underestimates Cersei. So we were all about, how do we get to this point where you end on a big close-up of Jonathan Pryce's face, who is so expressive, and you can see just the second before the whole place blows up that he goes, oh, shit.
Very quiet now, please, for the cues. Only Mig's voice. We're rolling. You ready for fuel? Yeah, ready. Action!
Starts off with the wildfire puddle, which is the ignition system. Then we see the barrels that are leaking. They explode, and they trigger the barrels that are all the way down the vault wall. They explode. So when we do the barrels, we've got some pyro set up. Flame always flies up towards you. So you shoot like that. We've got the flame coming up towards the camera. When you see it like that, it's flame coming down the corridor towards you. And then everything else is CG King's Landing.
Everyone got really excited, all the crew were like, great, we're going to blow the scepter, we're going to have debris, and we're going to smash things up, it's going to be great. And I was like, no, we're not blowing it up. And everyone was very disappointed. We filled the set with 287 extras and a light source and these big kind of things, air movers they're called, that kind of do these gusts of air. And we would do a time and we'd go in 3, 2, 1, boom, and then everybody fell back. So that was as close to exploding as we got, but a majority of it, 99% of it, will all be visual effects.
Reset, rolling, set.
Let head back on the set.
And 3, 2, 1, go.
There'll be a shot of the high septon getting blown up pretty good. We see it from the inside, we see it from the top.
And then we're much more structural about this falls, then this caves in, then the statues fall this way and that way. And then finally the explosion bursts out the top and out the windows.
A church bell comes flying at us and lands at the street in front of us. And then we see it, of course, from Cersei's POV and Tommen's POV from their balconies when we see this epic destruction on a grand scale. It's sort of like a nuclear explosion of sorts.
The second part of the Tower of Joy is something that hopefully answers a question that lots of people have been wondering about.
I don't want to die. The secret she whispers into his ear just before she dies. The best way to answer that question is not to answer it. You're not going to know what she said.
Promise me, Ned.
It seemed appropriate that as Bran ends the season starting to take control of his powers, that he learned this information as he is heading south to find his family. At the same time, Jon ascends to being the true leader of the North.
I don't care if he's a bastard. Ned Stark's blood runs through his veins. He's my king, from this day until my last day.
The King in the North!
Well, we all want a leader who's going to be decent and honourable. And there's certainly two words that you can certainly apply to Jon Snow. He's the right man for the job. Although Sansa might have a problem with that, I fear.
He's declared king of the North, and no one even thinks, well, what about Sansa? She's actually a true Stark, and she's the one who brought in the Knights of the Vale. Maybe she deserves to be queen of the North.
That's what I love. I love that scene at the end because you really don't know where they're going to go from there. You don't know if Sansa's just going to turn on Jon or what's going to happen.
I now proclaim Cersei of the House Lannister, first of her name, Queen of the Andals and the First Men, Protector of the Seven Kingdoms.
She's finally become queen. I think the script actually really nails it and says it all. The last line in that scene says, Cersei, Queen of King's Landing and the Iron Kingdoms, whatever, invites you to all go fuck yourselves. And really, you don't really need to give any direction.
It's just shock, and he, does not understand what the hell the game plan is here, because no one will accept her as queen willingly.
Probably knows better than anyone what a terrifying prospect this is for Cersei Lannister to be up there in that throne.
I'm not sure he understands, knows who that person is now. And that's scary. It's just scary.
She's capable of doing anything, as she's proven in this episode, to get what she wants. And the real question now is, what does she want?
Long may she reign.
Long may she reign.
Your reign is over.
My reign has just begun.
One, two, three.
Marine was about elegant Hollywood-style, big epic scopy dragon stuff.
There's a lot of VFX for the battle in Marine. Like a lot of VFX. Like it's most green. It's mainly green. There's a lot of green things happening.
Once Danny gets airborne on Drogon, then the only thing real in the frame is going to be Emilia. And we're throwing a lot of very nice technology at photographing her and putting her into CG scenes in a way that should look all photographed.
It's insane. It's so good. You're like, okay, good. Because before it was just me in a green room going, woohoo! And then you see it and you're like, oh shit, I'm badass. That's awesome. Dracarys.
Camera's following the dragon.
Exactly. Camera's following the dragon, chasing the dragon. Probably grab a look at Peter much earlier on.
Yeah, he looked at me and then I looked at him.
Yeah.
He looked away.
Okay, great. Let's try one.
Checks. Let's go.
Cut. Reset, please. Back to one.
The same thing went through my head when I read it as when I was doing it, which was da 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 da.
At the end of episode 10, which we call the Armada, it's very largely a CG scene, but we're shooting a lot of pieces for it.
A few actual shots of our characters, and then it's almost entirely VFX.
It needed many iterations in previs to get the beats of it right, so that Dan and David felt like it was emotional enough, it was big, and would build a tremendous level of excitement for the fans.
It was a real thrill to see her on the bow of that ship with Tyrion by her side. That was a joy to behold.
What makes it special is the 5 seasons that have gone before it. What makes it special is the investment you have in all of those characters.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, when I read that, I may have squealed out loud.
Yeah! Yes! Yeah! This is what we've been waiting for.
We're off to war with Daenerys. This is amazing.
Action!
Bring on season 7, like right now. I'll have scripts tomorrow, thank you.
That's it. I can hear the music and the credits roll, and yeah, it's amazing.